When swatching these polishes, the first thing that came to my mind was ice cream. Well, sprinkled frosting, but it's summertime, so ice cream. So I'm going to attempt to do a ice cream nail design. And it's going to be a little bit 3D, I'm hoping. I have here today the Ablliz Sugar Donut Collection. I've got the full 5-piece set, just without packaging, and I'm really excited to see what these look like. They're a very thick kind of texture gel with some exciting little sprinkles in there, and I think they're going to be really interesting and fun to work with. So let's get these swatched and see how they turn out. Here they are, all top coated. I've got a large area of matte and glossy because these did seem like they would look best if they were matte. Just with the texture effect, seems a lot better. They're really neat. They do look like icing or frosting. They are very chunky to work with, but that's okay. That's kind of the idea of them. They'll be neat for fun designs. I've got these cheapy model 3D gel modeling clay, not clay, but I don't know what you call them, but they're from Amazon and they're 3D gel. And I am going to attempt to do a waffle cone out of them that I'm going to fill with ice cream. So I don't know if this idea will actually work. It's just something that kind of came to mind, and I'm going to check it out and see. So I thought I'd start by mixing these two colors. I've never used this stuff yet. Came in a pack like that. So I don't have a color that's like a waffle cone color exactly. So I mix these two colors to get something kind of a little closer. And then I'm going to probably try using ink to see if I can color it properly. Okay, so my idea was to roll it into a little ball and then to just roll it out. Okay, so I find out this is too soft to roll out, soft and sticky to roll out like that. Not working. So the idea is a scratch. I'll have to put it directly onto the nail. So I have prepped, primed, and base coated my tip just because I'm not sure how this stuff cures on. So initially my idea was to roll it out and have two pieces and have them overlap just like you see in a waffle cone, but it's not really cooperating. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to fake that effect since I can't roll this. So here I am just trying to give it the general shape of a waffle cone and figure out how to get that 3D in there of the wrapped over piece of what the cone would look like. And so I just play with it forever and ever and ever. I've edited a ton of it out. But yeah, just trying to give it the general shape and the look of what a waffle cone looks like. I'm working just off of an image that I've got on Google for what a empty waffle cone might look like. So I just keep playing with it until I get the shape and look that I want. This stuff is soft. It shifts really easily, which could be good, I guess, but it's making it a little tricky for me. I'm going to be using number 26 from Ablliz ink line. Not sure what it's going to do over wet. It goes over it okay, but I have a feeling it would have been a much better idea to put it over a matte top coat. Wait a minute to see if it dries. And I want to try putting my lines in. So I did redo these lines a few different times just to get the angle right, the spacing right, just to make it look natural, like it should as a waffle cone. And sometimes when I laid it out, the lines just didn't seem to be in the right spots. It also kept giving me major corncob vibes that I had to keep fixing and adjusting. I am going to end up cleaning up these lines a bit with some jelly gel, I think, like to make it stand out better. Because I do want a very realistic look is what I'm going for. Whether or not it's going to turn out that way, I do not know. So here it is out of the lamp. And I've got a few more inks that I'm going to try playing with. I think it'll do better now that it's cured. I'm hoping anyway. Fill a little dish with some alcohol. Showing up a little too red, so I'm going to grab a darker brown to work with. And because it's the lines that are raised usually on the waffle cones, my idea was to use a jelly gel like this and do really thin raised lines. And I don't want it to self-level at all, so I'll get in and flash cure it. So then I just continue with different colors of ink, layering them on and mixing them around. I've got a darker brown that I'm adding here, and I am just trying to find the right color. I'm just mixing it, playing with the inks, leveling it out, and trying to find the color that matches well. Then I go in with a matte top coat and just kind of fill in the cracks and crevices there without trying to put a really thin layer on without bulking up the nail too much, because I've got my 3D line effect. Now that that matte top is cured, I just go in and play with some more different ink colors here. Still trying to look for that perfect color. Looking back as I edit this, I realize I probably should have tried polish colors instead, but what can you do? So now that I'm happy with my cone, I'm going to start in with my ice cream scoops. First of all, going in with this purple color and just building. Again, I'm looking for that 3D dimension. So just building it up here with the polish and putting in a little bit of a drip coming off of the scoop. Just like when you're eating your ice cream and it's all dripping down the cone, which is so very common. So I picked up this YOGO Embo powder that I wanted to try out. And this stuff is used for creating thicker, mixing it with your polish to create something thicker. In this case, because I want my ice cream to be thicker and kind of stand out of the cone. So I'm going to try mixing a little bit with this Embo powder. Now this stuff is already quite thick, like really thick. And I thought that it would be thick enough. And I mean, it probably would be. I could probably sit here and build it, and it would thicken it, or like layer it up. Instead, because I want a much more 3D effect, and I want to try this stuff out anyway, I'm going to try mixing that in and see how it goes. And again, I've never used this, so I don't know if this idea is going to work or not. We will just have to see what it does. I'm just slowly mixing it in until I see kind of the texture that I'm looking for. And I just kind of want to be able to mold it around. And I really want to be able to give it that look of going over the cone, like your ice cream would. Like it's in it, but it's also coming over the edges. And trying to prevent it from being too symmetrical. Okay, that's kind of the look I'm going for. I'm gonna cure that. So I'm liking the look of that so far. Now I'm gonna go in with my white one. And basically the same process. I'm gonna start by just painting a couple layers. I'm gonna paint a few and then cure, just to build it up a little first. Okay, I've built a couple layers just with regular polish, just because I want to make sure it cures through well. And now I'm going to mix a little with the Embo. And then I'm just going in to repeat the same process that I did with the purple to put a new scoop of white ice cream up top here. I ended up mixing up the white even thicker, and it actually gives it even more of an actual like ice cream consistency. Actually looks like ice cream playing with it. It works really, really well to mold. So you can see it moving around here really easily. And as I'm playing with it here, it does the drips in such a nice, natural, flowing way that they just bloop right up there. And yeah, it was just so natural and simple to manipulate the polish to work like that. It created that texture super effortlessly, and it just made it really easy to get the desired effect that I was looking for. I really liked the Embo powder. It was so cool to work with and a lot easier than I expected. Overall, it gave a better effect than just working with the polish layers, I think. Even though I was using a textured polish, I still think that Embo powder just really brought something extra to it to give a better overall 3D effect. And this Embo powder can technically turn any gel polish into a textured gel. So it's a really cool product to have in your nail supply arsenal. If you see anything on here that you thought would have been cool to check out, you can find direct links to all the products below. And don't forget, when shopping on Sweetie Nail Supply, use code LYN for 10% off your order. As much as I felt like this was finished, it still didn't quite seem to look right. Something was off, and I think it came down to the shape of the cone. It was done on an almond nail, so it's got like the sides are flared out a little bit. So I decided to give it more of the straight angled cone look by filing the sides of the nail in. And while that is going to mess with the shape of the almond, I figured it was well worth it for the art. And you know, you're not going to be wearing every single nail as an ice cream cone. Well, I guess you could, but personally for me, I would just have, you know, one accent nail on each nail kind of thing and have the rest be somewhat more simplified. Once all my filing was done, it actually looked like an ice cream cone. So I gotta say, it took me about 3.5 hours to play with this. Keep in mind that these were all new products to me and new techniques that I've tried out. I am brand new to doing something in 3D. It was my first attempt, other than like using 3D molds, which of course this obviously wasn't. And I gotta say, I'm really quite happy. I was pretty happy with myself. I feel like it turned out to look like an ice cream cone. I don't know. What do you think? Would any of you wear this? I mean, again, I wouldn't wear them on all of my fingers, but I think it would be a lot of fun as an accent nail with the rest of them, just having, you know, ice cream drips or fun ice cream colors or something that's not quite so three-dimensional. It was a fun project to take on, and I'm really glad I did it. It was not nearly as difficult as I thought it would be. I hope you all enjoyed checking out this video and had some fun along the way. I really appreciate you taking the time out to watch until the end. And of course, until next time, don't forget to love your nails. Bye!